Dads, it's Friday, and that means one thing. The week's grind is behind you, and now you're crashing into the weekend at full speed. With little time to take a breather before you throw yourself in, how are you going to reset? How are you going to recharge? And how are you going to tackle the challenges ahead? And how are you going to give your kids what they need? This is your moment to reset. If you're anything like me, I just need a second. If it's been a tough week, then I just need that moment to gather my thoughts before I can get anywhere close to giving them what they need. And that's why I've created Friday Fuel. This is your moment to reset, refocus and recharge before you step into the weekend. This isn't just another motivational talk. I'm putting down a marker. I want to help you show up as the dad your family needs. Every Friday, we're going to dive into the relentlessness of fatherhood. We're going to talk strategies, insights, and help you shake off the stress from the week. Fatherhood doesn't wait, and neither should you. Your kids need you to be present, engaged, connected, and energized. And taking a moment for yourself should give you that all-important time to disconnect and focus on what's really important. Look, if you like what you hear, like what you see, be part of our community. Subscribe to the podcast, join the community. All the links are in the description. I'm excited to have you here today. I'm excited for you to listen. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the episode. And if you have anything that you want me to cover, don't be afraid to ask. I will endeavour to cover everything I can. This is Friday Fuel. Let's get started. Welcome back. This is Friday Fuel. I'm excited to have you back, and I want to just talk to you really briefly about some of the products that are going to be on offer over the next couple of weeks and months. We've got the ebook focusing you on paternity leave and maximising your time. We've got the ebook that is dedicated to making sure that you are the support network that your partner deserves. And of course, we've got the ebook on burning out and what parental burnout looks like and how to avoid it. And within that ebook, we've also got the 30-day reset, which supplements our New Dad Recharge course, which you'll be able to grab in a matter of days. And on top of that, we're also working on a number of smaller guides, focusing you on baby and mum in the early days. So if you're due to have a baby anytime soon, grab a copy of our 50 tips that you need to know as a dad. And we focus very much on your impact in the early days, what to look out for, and how you can best support mum and baby. We've also got our new guide to early fatherhood, which will be out over the next couple of weeks. It's something that I've been working on, something I'm incredibly proud of, and it is really just a snippet of what we can create. It will feed into a lot of the work that we're going to do over the next couple of months, which is very much focused on you, the new dad, and helping you navigate the early stages of fatherhood, the challenges you're going to face, what to look out for, and what not to miss out on, so that you are not only maximising your impact and influence in the early days, but you are being the support network that baby and your partner require. All of these products are designed to help you be the best dad you can be, but most importantly, show up and give your family what they need, especially your partner as she navigates those early challenges of motherhood. Your role, as we've always talked about, is to guide and lead with confidence, strength, and courage. Your role is to be there. Your role is to be present, to connect, to understand the challenge and identify solutions. But importantly, it's to listen with empathy, and it's to give her that sounding board that she's going to need as she navigates those early times. Now, you might think, well, we're focusing a lot on new dads, and I think it's important we get the experience out there. We share as much as we can, and we also highlight all the mistakes that we've made. Look, I'm not perfect. I'm chasing perfection? No. I'm chasing better. Better every single day. That is my role. My role is to support you as you face the challenges head on, but also to help you take a step back, reflect, and understand the value and the contribution that you bring to the table because it's that value and contribution that you are overlooking. You are missing out on the small, magical moments because sometimes you're lost in your own head. Sometimes you're focused on provision, protection. You're focused on the core principles. But in reality, what they need is somebody that's prepared to take that step back, reflect, decompress, and then launch themselves into dad mode and to give them what they need in the moment. But to do that, you've got to be prepared, you've got to be ready, and you've got to be willing to just unwind. You've got to be able to invigorate the story. You've got to be able to energize every interaction. And trust me, with two boys, that is incredibly hard. In fact, at times, I'm drained. I don't have any energy to give. But that doesn't mean you can't show up. It doesn't mean that you cannot give them what they need in the moment. It's that attention to detail. It's that head out of your phone, head out of the pressure, the stress, head out of the influences that are circling, that void of pressure that's outside, and it's just diving into the moment. If you understand what truly matters, if you recognize what's holding you back and is pulling you away from those small moments, that's when you can give them what they need. Because you are reflecting on the impact that you can have. You're reflecting on the fact that you are drained of resources and drained of energy. It is tiring. Balancing everything is going to leave you exhausted. You are going to face challenges that you have never come across. The sleep deprivation is one thing, but as they get older and more complex, you are going to face things that you did not see coming. They are going to catch you off guard. They are going to catch you cold. But because you react in the moment, you're underprepared. And therefore you've got to work a lot harder. You have got to focus harder on the solution. You have got to pull yourself into the moment to give them something extra. That energy level has to go up. But how do you do that when you're stuck? How do you do that when the resources are depleted? It's your energy level that sets the tone. It's your position as the father in the household that gives them something to aspire to, something to look up to. So when you're down, when you're drained, what do they see? Think about it for a moment. Think about the man in front of them. He's tired. He's exhausted. He is carrying the weight of so much. But still, they come to you. Still, they want that cuddle. Still, they want to play that game, whatever that game may be. And when they're tiny, they just need that warmth, that beat of your heart in the chest. They feel it, they sense it. You are a powerful creature. You are incredibly inspiring to them. Your influence grows as they grow. So don't fuck it up. Don't let the world outside your door destroy your confidence, destroy your strength, destroy your resilience. You have more to give. You have more energy. You can drive further. You can deliver a life that you're proud of while still being the dad they need. All our resources are there to support you. Everything is designed to give you a leg up. Everything is designed to help you take a step back, breathe in the moment, and then launch forward from that position of strength and confidence so that you can guide, inspire, and influence something in their lives. Your legacy is either lying in front of you, sitting in front of you, or standing in front of you. Your legacy, the things that you do today, will limit or advance who they become. Don't take a step back and fail to reflect on how important you are and the impact that you have. You are an incredible dad. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can stop you influencing them. Only you. Only you can stop them seeing the best version of you. I disappoint myself at times. I lash out. I lose control. And I get frustrated. I get overwhelmed at times because I'm conflicted. I know what I need to do. I know what direction of travel we're going in. Sometimes I'm not moving quick enough, and that disappoints me. That leads me to question my value, my contribution, my impact to my children. But that doesn't stop me wanting to push on. What I want to do now is really just dive into this episode in a bit more detail. Yes, I get passionate about it. Yes, there's a little bit of a segue in that sort of earlier dialogue that we've just been through. But for me, this episode is all about finding balance. Becoming the dad you need to become, importantly, without losing sight of who you are, the man that you are. And it's incredibly difficult in today's society to do that, because there is this narrative. There is this narrative that we got to step up more, we've got to do more, we've got to challenge the status quo, we've got to create a level playing field. There has to be equality. And as a husband to a working mum, I am 100% behind it. I believe there is this unique opportunity to shape our children from a position of strength, confidence and courage. And I believe that our role fundamentally is to be the support network our partner and our children need. I believe that we have a lot more to give. I believe, though, that masculinity is critical to the success of our children, especially if we have boys. We have to be this strong role model. Now, strength doesn't necessarily mean physically strong, mentally strong. What I'm talking about is demonstrating the characteristics that make you the role model that they aspire to. Learning from your mistakes, embracing vulnerability, challenging the status quo, protecting, providing, delivering when it matters most, but importantly, creating a legacy that you're proud of. And I think we lose sight of that. I think we lose respect for ourselves at times. We fail to see the contribution and the value that we bring in the early days of fatherhood. And I believe that's one of the reasons why extended paternity leave will be difficult to embrace. It will be difficult to tackle. Fundamentally, we are a bit part player in the very early days. What we want, I believe, and this is my opinion, is that we want our partners to be able to maximise their motherhood influence, but also ensure that they are given back what they deserve after maternity leave has finished. And this is where the problem starts. As a husband to a working mum, a career mum, I have seen firsthand the challenges and the bullshit that she faces. I have heard the comments. I have seen employers tackle the issue of motherhood. I have seen employers fail to tackle the issue. I've seen society fail. And I'm not sure, as it stands in today's society, in 2025, we're not fully clear on all the obstacles facing mum. And we're certainly not doing enough to tackle those issues firsthand through education, resources. We are but a number. And we have to recognise that. We are a cog in the machine. You take a step back for 3, 6, 12 months, you're just forgotten. And don't tell me that you're not, because you will be. You have to fight to get back to where you belong, because that is what is happening to our working mums today. If they get that opportunity to go back to work, because childcare is prohibitive. It just stops the conversation from taking place. And that is, fundamentally one of the big issues that we've got to face. The cost of childcare is stopping one of you from returning to work. It is stopping the partnership from thriving. It is stopping you moving toward targets together. It is forcing you or her to take a step back. Society wants us to step up. I want to step up. I want to do more. I want to contribute and add value to my family. The masculine norm is to provide and to protect. But what about nurturing? What about the strength that you have that you can show to your kids? What about your ability to bounce back? Setbacks, challenges. What about embracing being present in the moment? What about just connecting? Leading with empathy. understanding, listening. You see, there is a narrative that wants us to do more, but I believe to do more, for us to step in, to step out of the shadow, to lead with confidence, to be the dads that they need us to be, we cannot face the same challenges that our partners face today. Because, and this is just my opinion, we are going to face more aggression. We are going to face more bullshit, more comments, because we will be seen as weak. We will be seen as individuals that are putting our families above our organisations. Now, one of the challenges that I have, and I've been in a lot of career conversations throughout my career, with individuals as a leader, but also on the other side of that conversation. The question that I always have is, well, if you're not going to give me what I need, where am I going to go? What steps am I going to take? What opportunities can I create for myself? And we'll get on to more of that in a moment. Look, we have this unique chance to shape a life. But have you stepped up and taken responsibility? Are you prepared to push the boundaries without burning out? There are times when I'm running on fumes and I'll be honest with you, it just feels like there's no end in sight. So when times are tough, how are you responding to the call of fatherhood? Your effort, passion, willingness to push on is commendable. They see you, but do they get to experience the real you? See, I find myself torn at times. Should I push for more? Should I step back and be more present? The question is simple. Did you step up? The follow-up question is more straightforward. Were you ready for the seismic shift in your relationship? Okay, now are you really going to be ready for the shift to the primary carer? Does your employer advocate for this unique opportunity? Does their culture match the fine print in the policy? And will they actually support you? The narrative presented in 2025 is that we should be afforded the same opportunities as mums. The research points to this being our chance to level the playing field and finally address the imbalance of the gender pay gap. And I agree. More has to be done to address this balance. More has to be done to champion the working mum and ensure that on her return she's not starting from scratch, but starting from where she left off. That's the big issue. That's the challenge companies overlook. To be clear, this opportunity to be more present is something I strive for today. But my role right now is to champion the role of my partner, help her to find the balance necessary to be a successful career woman and mum. No amount of legislation is going to fix the issues she faces in her workplace. It's a human issue. It's down to how we treat and respect one another. It doesn't matter how far you go with your diversity and inclusion policies. If the staff and the leaders are not educated on the issues faced by working mums, then levelling the playing field just isn't going to cut it. She will still face this uphill battle. She's still having to start from square one. She still has to deal with poor leadership. My role is standing shoulder to shoulder with her, and I do my best to do that to the best of my ability, but I fail. I find it hard to understand the subtle bullshit that she has to deal with day in and day out. Not because I'm poorly educated. I just struggle to see why that person should be such a dick. And then I think to myself, you want me to level the playing field? You want policies to enable me to take on more responsibility? But yet you fail to support working mums. That's the government. That's you as her partner, and that's her employer. In our home we are equal. But it's always been that way. We've been through thick and thin, and we fight alongside one another. But I cannot control the bullshit she faces in the workplace. And if I were in her position, would it be worse for me? Let's think about it. Is it policy or culture that's the blocker, or is it us? If I look back at my previous employers, there are 2, maybe 3 that stand out. The policies were strong. but it was the culture that made the difference. It was the culture that fought for the policy change before the policies came into play. It's the culture, leaders and people that execute those policies that stand out. It's those cultures that create engaged workforces and entrust their colleagues to lead by example and encourage their staff to take on a greater role at home. It's those cultures that value working mums, that challenge the behaviours and that set the bar high and finally champion women in leadership. But let's dial it back. Do those cultures create an even playing field? I think so. But championing women and working mums is ingrained in that culture. Do employers and society treat dads differently? Simply put, the system is out of sync. As a father, I do want to be more present and connected, but do I want to step back? Do I want to sacrifice my ambition? It's a conflict I've wrestled with for 7 years. Here's where I landed. Yes, there should be greater opportunity afforded to you and I. We should, where possible, be presented with the choice to take extended leave and take on more of the family responsibilities. But would you do so in the company that employs you today? I think for most, the answer is going to be no. So I challenge you, are you doing enough to champion working dads? And here's what I think. The day we notify our employer, we fail to set expectations, set out the role we want to play at home, understand how they, the leader and the employer, is going to support us, and we fail to articulate what we are looking to do. We are a cog in the machine, dispensable if performance drops or we no longer align to the goals of a business. But what do? We sit tight, we hold on for dear life and hope we get the support underpinned by a fucking policy. The reality is, we, and this is you too, Mum, we need to performance manage the employer. And you need to do this before you plan to have a family. You will have seen how others were treated. If poorly, you stay and hope it's going to be better. But you should be putting your employer to the test. Do they talk a good game and then fail to follow through? Do they overpromise and consistently underdeliver? Are they running a results-only focused business where people come last? Regardless of the policies and the changes we're fighting for, we've got to do better. Be accountable for your action and test your employer. Put your employer on a performance review. Do they align with your values? Do they understand the pressures of modern parenting? Do they offer a solid financial package and incentivise you? And when was the last time you had a decent pay rise? What's the overall package worth to your family? If you take the time off, is it going to create a deficit to you both and erode the financial security of you both? You're about to have a family and about to choose to extend your time off. The question you need to ask yourself is really simple. Do they have your back? Will they shit on you when you get back? Will your work be shared out, never to be returned? And will there be a place for you when you get back? The problem, as I see it, is this. You cannot create equality if the culture doesn't align to the way of thinking. If it's surface level and for show, get out. But they got you over a barrel. You cannot have extended leave and she cannot have maternity leave unless you qualify. So you're stuck. So my advice is simple. Plan to the best of your abilities. Take that step back and together understand the current policies, how they've treated other colleagues, the financial incentive for staying put, and the financial obstacles to returning after baby has been born, and understand the cost of childcare. Look, fatherhood is about creating something unique, and we have that opportunity, but we have to start thinking logically and not emotionally. We've got to be braver in our decision making and stop complaining that others have more, or the playing field isn't fair. We have to behave like equals at home first and stop hoping the culture of business is aligned to our way of thinking. We have to weigh up the costs of having kids and understand the balance and the conflict we both experience. But above all else, we've got to stop hoping for someone to step in. If the environment and values don't align, make that decision before you decide to bring a family into the world. Why? Because it costs her more than it costs you. But if you're willing to stand shoulder to shoulder and take a new path and lead from the front and pave the way for fathers to take on a more active role supported by their employers, you need to understand if it's all for show. So weigh up the costs together. Be a partnership and understand if your employers are fit for purpose and fit to support your journey into parenthood. Policy enables change. Culture embeds it. Without cultural change, there is no revolution and no new chapter, or an equal playing field for mum and dad. Be the dad who understands the real impact. Talk to your partner about the values you want to instill at home and have her back. Don't expect change if you're not willing to search out those that are truly behind the working families. You and I, we're pivotal to her success and her future, and we play a critical role in levelling that field. But you cannot deliver what is needed if culture and leadership is unwilling to adapt. I want nothing more than to be more present with my kids and be more supportive in the home. I just want others to understand the realities of modern fatherhood and the pressures of supporting the modern, career-focused woman. There must not be bias or obstacles to her progression. But if we continue to fail her, then how can we commit to change when our masculinity will be undermined in the poor workplace culture? Change starts with you. It starts with focus on the outcome and understanding the input. The output has to be a better system that supports working families and creates a stable foundation for us as families to thrive. Yes, some of that falls on policymakers and employers, but we too must make a stand and fight for the right to be more present. We must be a voice, but we also must recognise that if we're working in a poor culture that fails to support working families and champion working mums, then that culture is going to fail you as a working dad. My advice is simple. Create a legacy that stands the test of time and stand shoulder to shoulder with the mother of your children. Your silence will see her feel isolated, ignored, and leads to a divide at home. And my friend, both you and the children lose out. I hope this has brought to life the importance of your role in supporting your partner, but also fighting for equality. Fighting for that level playing field that you and her can then thrive in. But ultimately it boils down to policymakers, decision makers, employers, but ultimately it's the culture that matters. It's the culture that will set the tone. It's the culture that will keep leaders honest. It's the culture that will keep the business honest. Ultimately, your diversity and inclusion policies, those that champion working parents, those that protect the rights of working mums, only work if the culture is there. Only work if she comes back to work in the same position with the same workload, with the same opportunities to progress. Because my friend, if you take that extended paternity leave, if you take that shared parental leave, you too will face bias. You too will face challenges that you've never seen, that you don't understand, and you will feel frustrated, angry, isolated. Ultimately, it's down to the culture to perform. It's down to the business to align to your values, and it's time that you, as the employee, made sure that the employer has your back, that your leader has your back. Because if they're failing working mums, they can hide behind the policy. But if the culture fails, then the business ultimately loses an engaged and impactful employee. And you are that impactful employee. You are, because of your children, willing to fight on, willing to push for more, willing to provide more, as is your partner. Because becoming a parent creates something new. It invigorates the way that you approach the world. And if you're clear on your impact, you're clear on your influence, and you have the opportunity to create this unique legacy and this unique opportunity for your children to thrive, then you're going to fight for it, right? But let's be clear, you can't do that from a position of weakness. And that's why performance managing your employer and understanding the policies are critical to your success, critical to her success. So I am fully behind extending paternity leave, extending the rights of us working dads so that we can better support working mums and level that playing field. But ultimately, if the cultures are wrong and you're in that culture, it's time for you to make a change. It's time for you to take action, because you need to find the right fit. The fit that's going to support you, that's going to support your family, that's going to enable you to be the dad that they need you to be. And we often, we choose to throw ourselves into work because it's an escape at times. But in reality, it's not an escape. It's a distraction. Yes, it pays the bills. Yes, it creates opportunity. But if you choose to put family first, you'll know early if your employer's got your back. You'll know whether your leader is aligned to the culture. You'll know if the culture's right. All I'm saying today, if you're in that lead up to having a baby, then you need to start thinking about what is your exit strategy. Is there an exit strategy that you need to take? Is that culture strong enough to help you lead from a position of strength and confidence? Or is it going to erode your resilience? Is it going to stop you becoming the dad that they need, the partner that your partner needs? This is Friday Fuel. This is Aidan. I'm so glad that you stopped by, and I hope I've demonstrated that the Modern Fatherhood Club is committed to equality, committed to the advancement of you and I being more present in our families' lives and creating policies that back the working family. I just want to make sure that the cultures are right. I want to make sure that the culture has your back so that you thrive, that your children thrive, that your partner is empowered. Your role on your return to work is to engage your employer and understand if they've got your back. The Modern Fatherhood Club is here. We will always have your back. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again soon.